Hello, you're watching the Bag and Board Vodcast review of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2, Episode 9, Ye Who Enter Here. Now, this is the episode before the mid-season finale, so I went into it expecting it to be a little slow, which in some ways it was, but a lot of stuff still happened. This is going to be a spoiler-filled review, so just be warned, if you haven't seen the episode yet, you should go do that first. As I said, it's a little slow in that not a whole lot happens. They do enter the city, and we get a few big reveals. The main one being Kree, although I guess it's sort of a big reveal, but I think everybody saw that coming, but it's confirmed now. The blue aliens are the Kree. But anyway, that's getting way ahead of myself. But the whole episode is kind of split into two parts, two main things going on, as a lot of these episodes are. One sort of half of this is about everything going on with Skye and May and Hunter and Raina, and the other half is everything going on with the city, with Coulson and Bobby and Mac and I can't remember which group Triplet went with, but anyway, but Fitz and Simmons are both on the part going to the city, and also there's a lot of Fitzsimmons stuff in this episode. It's really heartbreaking just to see them torn apart, that after what happened, after what Ward did to Fitz, did to them, and then Fitz paid the price, they can't seem to reconcile, and become as close as they were, or even really become friends again. They can barely talk to each other, but it was also really well done as far as the writing for that, and just the performances of those two actors. It really is heartbreaking, and it's meant to be, so well done for that. The whole thing with Raina in this episode, the other half going on and not the city, I liked aspects of it. I liked seeing Skye and Raina kind of almost bonding to some degree, but some of it kind of felt all over the place. 1 minute, they're the Koenigs are there, the brothers or clones or life model decoys or whatever they are, and then you got Agent 33 and Hydra and Whitehall and the Obelisk, and they're on the plane, and then they're not on the plane, and then they're just going all over the place, and you don't know whose side Raina's really on, where her loyalties lie, what she really wants. I don't think she really knows either, which is fine, if that's how they want to take it, but it just, that whole... I watched the episode a couple times, and the second time, there were whole scenes I had kind of forgotten about with that half of the episode, just because they were going all over the place. But it had its moments. I really liked seeing Skye able to stand up for herself now. I mean, against an agent, she's able to fight Agent 33 hand to hand and hold her own. So that was awesome. Not a big fan of Agent 33. She's the freaky-looking May, just because I'm not crazy about the direction that Ming-Na Wen, the actress who plays May, is taking with this character, because she seems to, be deliberately trying to be different than normal May. She speaks in a little bit higher voice, but just the way she talks, it comes across more as just bad acting than a different character who just looks like May. I like her as May. I think she's great normally, but as Agent 33, So, I don't know. I'm just not crazy about that character. But Whitehall, we get to see a bit of him, and he's always great, so... But that whole half of the episode, it was okay, nothing to write home about, except for Raina revealing that it is, in fact, the Kree that they're dealing with, which all but confirms that the city is Adelan, and that we're going to be setting up for Inhumans. I don't think we'll see Inhumans, beyond my theory that perhaps Skye and her father are Inhumans, but I don't think we'll be seeing Black Bolt anytime soon. But I do think this is going to be setting up for the Inhumans movie, which we now know is coming, thanks to the press conference with Kevin Feige. So, moving on to that half of the episode, the the Kree City, or Adelan, or whatever you want to call it, whatever it is. That is, I think, where this episode's really interesting. It's almost got a horror feel to it, you know. Not at first, you know. At first, they're just looking for a way into the city and stuff, and we just get a little bit of character development between Coulson and Bobby, and I did like that they really focus on the fact that Coulson is not Fury. You know, he's a very different director. He doesn't accept, you know, any. He doesn't have acceptable losses. So that was really cool. I always like seeing, you know, character development for Coulson. But anyway, so we get into the city though eventually. Everything that happens on the top side, on the surface, is kind of inconsequential. But we get into the city, and then it gets kind of creepy. You know, Simmons talks about a story, like a legend, that it's haunted, and then their equipment doesn't work, and they end up sending Mac down, and you know he gets whatever is inside of him, which I found interesting. When Mac touches the floor, touches, you know, the symbols, the Kree writing, and and then he, like, it burns it into his skin, and he goes crazy, but he's got like superpowers now, and that whole thing was, I guess that's a defense mechanism. I don't know exactly what the purpose of that is. I mean, I guess, you know, if you have a group of invaders, turning one of them into an insane rage monster and letting him kill the rest of them is a pretty good way to safeguard the city. But I don't know what's going on there. Now, I do find it interesting that that writing was on the floor, and in a variant cover for an upcoming Inhumans anniversary issue that's coming out, we get to see a shot of Adelan with the Inhumans in it, and on the floor is that same writing. So it's got to be Adelan. It has to be. So anyway, yeah, so Mac turns on them. They're forced to shove him down the hole, and it seems like he might be dead. I kind of doubt it, but is there any hope for him? I don't know. Like I said, this episode is mainly setup. Next episode is really where we're going to dive into all the craziness. We've already seen from the teasers that have been released that Skye meets her father, so I assume we'll finally hear her real name, which could be significant for comic book fans if if it's going to be a reference to the comics. I don't know. I think that's the main thing at this point, is just looking forward to what's going to happen in the mid-season finale this coming week. Sorry about the delay on this review. For the mid-season finale, I'll definitely try and get a review up. If not Tuesday night, then sometime Wednesday. But I'm very much looking forward to it, and I think that's the one where I'll really be able to talk about everything that's happened. And I'm also hoping that we'll be able to do a special episode of Excelsior on our podcast to talk about all the stuff for the whole second season, part one. So yeah, look forward to that. Possibly, we got a lot of stuff going on in the podcast, but check it out anyway. You know, Bag and Board Podcast Network on iTunes or Tumblr, wherever you want to look for it. It's all over the place. So until next week, enough said.